Welcome back to HuffPost Live. I'm Nancy Red, and this is Tell Me Why, where we invite sharp young minds to ask a question or explain something they're passionate about. Today, we're joined by 11-year-old Mandi. She started the organization Simon Says Give, which throws birthday parties for kids living in poverty. We're also joined by Patricia Morris, president of Women Thrive Worldwide. We're so grateful that each of you could join us. Mandi, of course, we have to start with you. For those who don't know, what is Simon Says Give?
Simon Says Give is a nonprofit that helps kids in need ages 5 to 12, and we provide a birthday party for them. And then in honor of my birthday in the summer, we do High Five for Supplies, which is the backpack and school supplies drive.
That's awesome. Now, what made you want to come up with this wonderful company?
I just wanted to help kids, and I wasn't sure how, and I thought everyone deserves a birthday. So now we do birthday parties for kids in need, and then in honor of my birthday, we do High Five for Supplies.
Now, here's the thing. You're 11, which is really impressive, but you actually wrote up the business plans for this idea when you were 7. How did you know you were interested in starting a business so early?
I just knew that I really wanted to help kids, and the best way I thought to do that was to start a company.
How has it been going so far?
Good.
Now, what's the best part about this?
We see kids daily having birthday parties, and it's just amazing to see their faces. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Just really glad to see them be happy.
Patricia, I'm going to bring you in here now. Goodness, if only we had more like Mandi, right? How wonderful is it? Do you think she's on the right track to starting a successful charity?
She is absolutely on the right track. You know, Mandi, we are so proud of you, and it's an honor to be on the show with you and to learn more about your work. You know, when someone sees a need and they find a way to fulfill that need, that is one of the most significant and important things that one can do to contribute to making the world a better place. So Mandi is absolutely on the right track, you know, with her idea and now her organization.
All right, when we're listening to this, Patricia, one of the great things about this segment is Mandi gets to ask you questions so that she can be just like you when she grows up. Mandi, what's your first question for Patricia?
Hi, Mandi.
Hi. My first question for you is, how did you start your organization?
Well, I have to admit that the Women Thrive was actually started by two women, more established women in the international development community, and a young woman who was just starting out her career, and that was 17 years ago. And at that point, the organization was called the Women's Edge Coalition. So Elise Fiber-Smith and Ritu Sharma together started Women Thrive. At that point in time, I was actually working in international development here in the Washington, D.C. area, and I was very excited about the organization, so I was one of the early supporters of the organization, and I followed their work all these years. And just this January, when the co-founder, Ritu Sharma, stepped down from the presidency, then I took over as president of Women Thrive.
Mandi, when you listen to Patricia's career trajectory, the way that she's risen through the ranks, what are some of the goals you have for your career? I know this charity is just the beginning, right?
Yes.
What are some of the things that you would like to do?
I just want to help people as much as I can.
That's a great goal, right, Patricia? I mean, one of the things so many individuals get into is, I want to be the CEO, or I want to do this. But really, it's just focusing on actually helping people is what we really need.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, let me tell you, Mandi, you know, I've worked for a number of organizations that were started by women. I used to work at another organization called Women for Women International, and that was started by an Iraqi-American woman when she was like 21 years old, who had seen the issues that had happened, you know, in Bosnia, you know, with women there and what their needs were, and developed an organization to address those needs, just like you came up with this idea to to really provide birthday parties for kids that are living in poverty. I also worked for a company called Development and Training Services that was developed by an Indian American woman to really do international development work that focused on promoting gender equality and social inclusion. And, that organization has grown very significantly over the past 17, 18 years, and now is merging with an even larger organization that does international development work. And so when people see a need, and particularly women, young women, see a need, and because there is a passion to make a difference like you have, they're able to go out and, and start projects and take what is an idea and turn it into a huge organization. And I think, as you grow in years, there are going to be many needs that you're going to see. And because you've started this organization so early, it's going to be a lot more easier for you than for other people in terms of saying, we can do something about this. We can start an organization to do this. We can bring people together to make a difference in the world. And so I predict that you're going to, have many different kinds of initiatives that you're going to start, and that they're all going to make a difference because they're needed and because you have the vision and the passion and the courage to go forward and make it happen. So I'm so very proud of you. And you're going to inspire many other people to work with you, because people are always looking for that inspiration in an individual. And you are very inspiring because you not only saw the need, but you did something about it.
Absolutely. Mandi, to that point, I know one of the questions you had for Patricia was about obstacles that she's had, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think there are two types of obstacles. There are obstacles that you have, as an individual, in terms of, taking the time to build your skills and to learn from some of your mistakes. In the international development field, we spend a lot of time looking at best practices, right? And I think the more I've worked in the field, I'm really sort of saying to folks that we also should learn from our not so good practices and from our failures, because they teach us what not to do the next time around. But very often people don't want to think about failure. They don't want to deal with failure because, they feel that means that they had an idea and it just didn't work. When in fact, you might find a gem in what didn't work to be able to determine what does work. And so even though it is an obstacle and a stumbling block sometimes, it is also a stepping stone to making a difference. On the other hand, in the work that I do with advocacy, if I could just add one more piece, what happens very often is that you're advocating for things. Like we've been advocating, 5 times now in Congress. So it's been, over a decade to try to get the International Violence Against Women Act passed in the U.S. Congress. And, we're disappointed that it hasn't been passed yet. But we're not going to allow that to stop us from continuing to sort of rally advocates and activists here in the United States to be able to push that agenda forward so that international development funding and programs and initiatives really address this scourge that we see around the world, which is violence against women and girls.
This is true. When we're looking at this, Mandi, one of the things that we want to know is what obstacles have you overcome, like Patricia's overcome obstacles and is working to overcome obstacles in the larger scope. What have you overcome with Simon Says Give?
It's really just trying to take your idea and kind of make it into what you would like it to be someday. So it's kind of more of a business kind of perspective from me, but I think it was a lot easier to start Simon Says Give younger than I was because it was kind of more of I don't have a filter in my brain. It's a yes or a no, maybe filter, where adults have no's and maybe filters. Mm-hmm. So it's more of a difference of what can I achieve? Well, I can achieve anything. And then it's more of that kind of filtering that we have, that's a difference.
That's really fascinating and so key, Patricia, right? A lot of times, especially women, young women, start to not believe themselves, right? Start to question or start to think, well, what about what this person thinks? What about what this person thinks? Instead of just thinking about what's best for my community and for myself, Patricia.
Yeah, absolutely. Mandi has identified, in her own sort of experience, what the research has shown in a number of different areas, right? And so the younger, girls they do have this perspective that they can do anything. They can be in science and technology. They can start an organization that's going to help change the world. And then as you get older, right, and you start to buttress up more and more against older folks as well, right, in your interactions that are saying, oh, no, you can't do that. That's not possible. Other people tried it. It's never going to work. You really should be doing something else, preparing for marriage and children and not, worry about making a difference in the world, when in fact, everything that we do makes a difference in the world. And so I agree with Mandi that, when you're younger, you're more of a visionary. And part of what we need to do as a society is to make sure that there's an enabling environment so that, young people, particularly young, girls and adolescent girls, that, their vision and their perspectives continue, that fire continues to burn throughout, all into their college years, as they graduate and go out into the work world, so that we can see more of the kinds of organizations and institutions and businesses that they envisioned when they were 5 and 6 and 7, because those are the kinds of institutions that are going to be different. And because they're different, they're going to change our communities, and in the end, they're going to change our world. And I believe it's going to be for the better.
Absolutely. Mandi, you think the world's going to be better when you're grown up?
Yes, I do.
Yay! Well, it's definitely going to be because of the work of you and Patricia. For more information on Simon Says Give, Mandi, and Patricia's work, check out our research well below. And stay tuned, Caroline Mataresi-Tarani is up next with a conversation on radical transparency.